My name is Isabelle Musi, and I work for a Swiss newspaper called Le Matin and Le Matin Dimanche, which is a newspaper from the French part of Switzerland, because I come from the French part, because we have 3 different languages in Switzerland, as you know. And we have a weekly one and a Sunday paper, that's why there's 2 names. And I've been covering tennis now for many years, and I'm here for this Davis Cup.
My name is Marcel Hauk from Switzerland. I'm working for a news agency, the largest in Switzerland, and I mostly cover tennis and also some ice hockey.
You came here because of Davis Cup between Switzerland and Serbia, but is this your first time here?
First time in Novi Sad. I was in Belgrade, like, I'm not sure, 15 years ago or something like that, for a game of the Swiss football national team, and they played, I'm not even sure if it was still Yugoslavia, there was already Serbia and Montenegro, I don't really remember, but it was a qualifier for the World Cup or the European Cup. I don't even remember the result, to be honest, but I spent like 2 days in Belgrade, and but first time in Novi Sad.
It is my first time in Serbia, yes. Absolutely.
But have you been maybe in some other countries in this region?
Yes, I went to Zagreb a few years ago for the ski slalom, but that was a very short trip, only 2 days, I think, or 3 days. And I don't know this area, this part of the world that well, I must say.
Yeah, I've been to quite a lot of countries. I have friends in Prague. I was quite often in Slovak Republic and Czech Republic. I've been to Poland. I've been to Budapest for the Formula 1 Grand Prix once. I've been to Bucharest for Davis Cup. I've been on holiday in Slovenia. I've been on holiday in Montenegro. I visited Sarajevo once. I've been to Greece. I've been to Bulgaria. So yeah, I know quite a lot. I've been to almost every country in Europe, actually.
What was your first impression when you came here in Serbia? What did you expect?
Well, the thing is, when I arrived on Monday, it was difficult to find my way because I have a car. I rent a car, and we were on the good road, and then for some reason, I don't know, I was talking with my colleague and we got lost. So we got to see a little bit of Belgrade because it was not well indicated, but it looks like a nice city, and from what I've seen from the center of Novi Sad, it looks nice with an a nice church, and so I would like to have a chance to see a little bit. Apart from that, very cold. Well, that's the season, you know. I suppose it's nicer in the summer. It's very grey at the moment because it's the winter.
If you drive from the airport in Belgrade into the city, first you have all these huge apartment blocks, like you know from a lot of cities in Eastern Europe. And then it's a bit of a surprise because Belgrade, the city center of Belgrade, is quite nice. There's a nice pedestrian area, the castle is nice, and it was very good, you know, it was warmer than now. You could sit outside, watch people, drink coffee, and so it was really nice. It was a nice city.
Can you describe maybe people from here in a few words? You met some of them in Switzerland. There is also
there are quite many in Switzerland. Normally, you know, you recognize them by the name mostly. They all have similar names, but then most of the people in Switzerland, I think, they don't really know if someone is from Croatia or it's from Serbia or it's from Bosnia. We have some football players from this region that play in the Swiss national team. Mario Gavranovic is one, but he is Croatian. Zdravko Kuzmanovic was one who could have played for Switzerland, but he decided to play for Serbia. Senad Lulic is a player from Switzerland, but he plays for Bosnia now. He qualified for the World Cup. Mostly, you know, these people that you see in the public, and almost everyone knows people from here because there are quite a lot. I think they came first in the 70s or 80s to work in Switzerland, and then when there was the war here, a lot of people came as well, as fugitives sometimes, because they already had maybe people they knew in Switzerland or relatives in Switzerland. So it's not always easy for them. The Swiss people, sometimes they're a little bit prejudiced towards people. But mostly I think they're doing fine in Switzerland, from what I know.
When did you start to work like a reporter?
I started working as a journalist a long time ago. As a sport reporter, I started about, I'd say, about 15 years ago. And tennis for maybe now 5-6 years, I would say.
Like 15 years. 15 years. Like that. Yeah, 15, 16 maybe now. Yeah. But first as a normal reporter, and like 7-8 years now only sports, but I always did sports. I always liked sports. Yeah.
Can you tell us something more about Switzerland tennis players? How much do you know them?
Well, I know them well. I know Wawrinka quite well because he lives 2 kilometers away from me.
Really?
So, yeah.
Your neighbors?
Yeah, we are neighbors, and I start to know Federer quite well as well now because after some years on the circuit, you get interviews 1-to-1 at each press conference. I went to see him in Dubai in December. I spent 2 hours with him, and they are nice.
Most of the players that play now, I've seen them play in junior tournaments a long time ago. I've known Roger Federer since he was 14 years old.
Really?
Yeah. I was a press officer for some of the junior tournaments where he played. So I've known him for a long time. Same as Marco Chiudinelli, who is now here. Sometimes I didn't see them for like 5 or 6 years, and then they get older, they come to the Davis Cup, and I go to them and it's like, look, I'm Marcel. They say, yeah, we know you were there for the junior tournament. So they like that you have been around for some time. And yeah, I followed them for quite a long time.
How much influence does they have on your nation? I mean, for like sports stars.
Well, Federer is a worldwide star, so I mean, he's very important in Switzerland, but he's just important everywhere. It's crazy. I mean, he's like a rock star.
Yeah, like a Djokovic.
But even compared to Nadal and Djokovic, Federer is even. I have a friend who followed him last year in South America. He did a tour in South America, exhibition tour, and he said it's like Mick Jagger everywhere he goes. And I remember in China for the Olympic Games, it was crazy. I mean, it was like there were 2 stars, Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, and Federer, and everywhere he was going, the people were like completely crazy. So of course in Switzerland he's a very big star, and people are very proud to have him. But now Stan Wawrinka has become a star.
20 years ago or so, the first was Martina Hingis, who really was, a big star worldwide and in Switzerland as well. And then we had some good male players like Jakob Lasek, who was a top 10 player, like Marc Rosset, who was an Olympic champion. So that's when people started to be interested in tennis a lot more. And then obviously with Roger Federer, everything changed. Since then, I'd say the most important sports in Switzerland is football, like in a lot of countries. Ice hockey is important because we're a winter country. Skiing is very important. And then I would say tennis comes in 4th place, I think, from the most important sports.
What people think about Novak Djokovic? Yes.
Well, of course, I mean, most people like Federer, but you also have Swiss people who are fans of Rafael Nadal and people who are fans of Djokovic. There are some, and because he's funny and he's got a nice personality as well. But of course, he's seen as the big rival. Now but last year he was more the big rival of Wawrinka because they had those incredible matches together, and now Wawrinka eventually managed to beat him. He's viewed as the big rival, but he does have fans in Switzerland.
some don't like him because he beat Federer too many times. Obviously, they would like Federer to win all the time. But I think there's really a lot of respect for Novak, because I think he has become better all the time, not only as a player but also as a person. He has been very good for tennis. There was a time, like 4 years, where Federer won almost everything, and people got used to that. So they were not so excited anymore. It was like, okay, another Wimbledon, nice, but there wasn't so much enthusiasm. And with Nadal and Djokovic, it has become a lot more interesting again.
I did 2 interviews with Djokovic, and in the first interview I did with him, we spoke a lot about Serbia, because for me it was interesting for him to explain. I think for people to understand him better, his personality and how he behave, and why it's important so much for him to win, and all that. I think you have to talk about Serbia, because because then you understand. When you understand where he comes from, you understand the personality better, I think. So it was very interesting what he said about, like he feels he's an ambassador of Serbia, and because of the bad image that his country has in the world because of the war, he feels like it's his duty to make people understand that Serbia is a good country with good people, and you can feel that it's important for him.
There was Australian Open, and Wawrinka won cup, Novak Djokovic, and what was reaction in your country?
Big, very big. Yeah, very big. But it started even before. He had a very good year last year. He became number 8 in the world. He was in the semi-final at the US Open. He was in the semi-final at Masters Cup. He almost was better than Federer, which is it was hard in Switzerland to get out of the shadow of Federer a little. He was voted the 2nd best sports people last year in Switzerland, behind a cross-country skier, and he was voted sports personality. Not sport. Overall personality of the year in Switzerland for last year, even before he won the Australian Open. So I would say it started before, but I think people are very, very proud of him and very happy for him.
A lot of people were surprised. A lot of people, because we were only a few people. I know Wawrinka well for a few years, and I always believed in him. But a lot of people, he was always viewed as the loser. Because he was always compared with Federer, but you can't compare with Federer. Federer is just in another, from another world. So a lot of people were surprised, but very excited, of course. And I think a lot of people didn't believe he could beat Djokovic eventually, but once he did beat Djokovic, then people thought, okay, now that he's beaten Djokovic, he can win. He can do whatever.
Do you travel a lot because of your job? Where have you been? Do you travel only in Europe, or you?
No, I travel quite a lot.
A lot, really?
Yeah. I've been like 5 or 6 times to every Grand Slam tournament, so I've been to Australia like 10 times or so, 10, 12 times. And I also like to travel for fun as well. So I like to visit new countries where I've never been, or places where I've never been.
I've traveled a lot even before to do this job, even as my parents always traveled a lot. So I went to Africa, for example, when I was 10 years old,
Really?
to Togo and Benin, countries where people don't necessarily go. And I've been to Senegal. I've been a lot to Africa. I lived in a lot of places as well, because I lived in California when I was 18 as an au pair, and I lived in England because I studied there a little bit for a while, and I lived in New Zealand because I covered 2 America's Cup, the sailing event there. The Switzerland one, that even though we don't have a sea. So I spent 6 months in New Zealand. I spent a lot of time in Australia as well, because I covered the Sydney Olympic Games a long time ago, and so I lived there for 2 months as well, and I've been everywhere tennis goes.
what is bad and good side of your job? Is there anything that bothers you maybe sometimes?
Sometimes there's some pressure. You know, you need good stories. Sometimes your boss at the office wants this story, and I think that's not the story I want to tell. So you have some discussions with that. Sometimes you have a little pressure. Sometimes it's hard to keep all your friends around because you travel a lot. Also, you have working hours that are a little different from other people. So often you work until midnight, or you work on Sundays. Sometimes you have to work on Christmas or Easter or days like that, because the next day there's still newspapers, or on the internet there are stories. So that's probably the biggest disadvantage.
The good side is that you get to travel a lot. I mean, and I think that's a privilege. I mean, have the chance to discover countries, to meet new people, to taste different food, to discover different culture, and to understand the world better. Because I think the more you see of the world, you understand better how it works. The bad side is that it's tiring sometimes to travel, and you're away from home a lot. I have a daughter, so it's not easy to be away from home all the time. You need a good organization.
Yeah.
But I think there's more good side than bad sides. Yeah, of course. Otherwise, I would change and do something else.
Of course, always. Do you have maybe some favorite story from your job?
Yeah, in China, I was supposed to go during the Olympics to the press conference of the guy who does the marathon, the Swiss athlete who does the marathon, and he decided to do his press conference away from the city, and my taxi driver got lost, and he didn't speak a word of English, and I don't speak a word of Chinese, so it was a bit of and I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? So you have all sorts of situations like that.
2 years ago, before the US Open, they were afraid of a hurricane that was supposed to come, and they shut down everything. And the Americans are crazy about that. If they do something, they always exaggerate. They never do anything normal. It's like, okay, there's a hurricane coming, so we shut down everything. In the end, it was a little rain, a little wind, but I don't know, something we get every year in Switzerland or so. And they had shut down everything, and in the end, nothing really happened. So these are, and I don't know. Yeah, there's many. You meet people. When I went to Vietnam, I met someone on the airplane I didn't know before. We started talking, and the end she showed me the whole city in Hanoi. It was better than with every tour guide you could have. Sometimes it's little things.
Where do you live? What every tourist
city?
Yeah, your city.
Okay, well, I'm from Lausanne, but I live near Geneva, where I work. Well, now I work in Lausanne again, but I was working in Geneva. I think they are nice cities. I think Switzerland is... I prefer Lausanne to Geneva, but Geneva people don't like when we say that, because Lausanne is... it's hilly, It's like built on a hill, so you have beautiful view on the lake, and when Geneva is flat, so it's but both I think they are beautiful cities.
My city is very small, so there's not a lot, or it's not even a city, it's a town where I grew up. But we're close to Zurich. I went to school in Zurich, and Zurich is a great city. There's a lake, and about 1 hour's drive you're in the mountains if you want to go skiing. You can do so many things on the lake. There's an old city that's very nice.
Who is your biggest support?
I would say my family. Yeah, my family. I think my husband, because he agrees for me to do that. He knows it's my passion to do this sport, but he's a sportsman as well. So he travels a lot as well. So he understands.
I guess my parents, who when I was 15, my parents sent me to America for 1 year to learn English. They had lived in America too for a time and worked there. They always encouraged me to learn new things. I can always go to them if I need help or something.
What is the key secret for success and
in life?
And happiness. Yes.
In happiness?
In life, yeah.
Well, what I said, I think one of the keys to be happy with what you have, and to try to have dreams, and try to realize your dreams, and be tolerant, and be curious. I think, well, journalism is, you have to be curious, and I think when you are curious to understand the world and the other people, it helps to be happy, because to be positive about things.
Not the same for every person. Some people need, I don't know, success in work to be happy. Other people need a family to be happy. I think you can't. Everyone has to find their own way.
We like to come here to stay a longer time.
Everywhere I would like to go back, but normally it depends a little bit on the work I have. So next time in Davis Cup we'll be in Switzerland. So you will come to Switzerland.
I will come there.
And yeah, we will see. So when I go on holiday, it's normally rather somewhere a little further away, like out of Europe or so.
I would like to see Belgrade, and if I have a chance. If I don't have a chance, then I will come back to visit Belgrade. And if I don't have time this time, I would come back to do a report about where Djokovic is from. You know, more than, I mean, I've talked about with him, but now I want to. So as I might not have time this time to do it, I will come back for that. But and then maybe one day on holiday. But it's difficult for me to say now, because I haven't seen enough to say, okay, I want to come back on holiday. I need to see a little bit more before to decide that.
Yeah.
There are lots of places where I go and think, okay, I should come back with my family on holiday, but then you don't have time, because life is too short to go everywhere. And so I'll see.